What's going on, Sunbelt fans? Only one game tonight, so let's recap a little bit about last night. The night went close to pretty much what we expected, which was unfortunate because we only came away with 2 victories on the night. App State does go down to Wake Forest, way closer than that 12.5 point spread that favored Wake Forest. Mantis ends up having a huge game. He was very good at shooting from 3 last night, but they had 4 starters in double figures for Wake Forest. So that's hard to overcome, especially when you're a smaller college mid-major team like App State against a Power 5 team, which Wake Forest is actually a very small private college, but they've got the money. So they've brought in some good players there. They're very quality, a very good dribbling team. Came down to the last second. They're actually really bad loss to me. If you ask me, you have the ball with the lead with 2.3 seconds left and somehow find a way to lose. I'm not going to sit here and blame anyone specific. You've got all kinds of things that are very minute throughout the entirety of the game that seem to add up at the end when something like that happens. So it's just unfortunate, disappointing, but a good showing overall. And we actually had another good showing like that. It we'll get to in just a second. But first, Coastal travels up to South Dakota, and they had already beaten them 66-59. We talked about that. They end up beating them again, this time by a much smaller margin, only 1 point. But Mustafa had a great game up there, went for 25 points and 11 rebounds, and that's easily the reason why they won that game there on the road. Not easy to win on the road when you're mid-major to mid-major. Even Power 5s have a hard time winning on the road unless they're an elite program. So great for Coastal to go up there and get the victory on a large travel day for them. Morehead State and Georgia Southern. Morehead was 0-4 going into this one. Georgia Southern was pretty good at home at the 4-1 mark. Unfortunately, I said that it was going to come down to the 2 bigs. Who had the bigger game, who had the better game, was going to get this victory. That was totally wrong. Gross was outplayed by Sarasov for Georgia Southern because he had quite a bit more points, more rebounds, played better all around. But unfortunately, Georgia Southern lost that one. And they actually made it a little bit closer in the end. I think it ends up being a 3-point game to finish out, but it felt like 10 points because they just, that last, I would say 2 or so minutes felt like an eternity because they kept trying to foul to get that game close. Again, they did get it close in the end, but when you read that scoreline, that game really wasn't even as close as it seems or how it looks because it didn't feel that close. I think Georgia Southern could play that game again and win it 9 out of 10 times, honestly. That's the kind of unlucky things they had. They had Brown get hurt in the game as well. So thoughts are with him and the team community who had to witness that. Was very unfortunate, but hopefully he's going to be okay. As far as Sam Houston and ULM go, Sam Houston drubbed them really good. We had a feeling they would probably meet or exceed that 11-point spread. They did do that. ULM, I said, if they had any chance, they'd have to have like one of their best shooting nights. Well, it was the exact opposite. Sam Houston shot really, really well all over the field, as well as from the 3-point arc. ULM was the opposite. They weren't very good on their free field goals or from the 3, below 40% for both, I believe, which it was the opposite. Sam Houston State was above 50% for everything. So not a good night for them. And then the other game that was closer than we thought might be was Georgia State going up against Auburn. Auburn was favored by 20 points. That's what happens when you're a number 19 ranked team in the country, but it only ends up being an 8-point difference. Georgia State was actually ahead at the half, which surprised me there, and I tuned into that one for a little bit. Auburn's just too deep, basically, is what happened there. So, last one of the night was Arkansas State and Southeast Missouri State. These 2 teams were really even kind of going in. It was only a 3.5-point favorite for Arkansas State. They end up taking it by right around that margin, really. Farrington did not go, but Nelson and Felts had great games, and that's the reason why at the end Arkansas State started to outshine and outpace that Southeast Missouri State team. But those are 2 very evenly matched teams, and maybe if a couple things go well for both teams, really, but hopefully we focus on Arkansas State, they can be a little bit better towards conference play here. So tonight, December 15th, 8 p.m., ESPN Plus, we've got Louisiana. Let me reactivate this screen here. we've got Louisiana going to McNeese State. So a little bit bigger of a program in Louisiana, traveling on the road to a little bit smaller school of McNeese. Louisiana still only has one loss on the year. McNeese is a well below average basketball team. They rank near the very bottom in points scored and field goal percentage from the field. So I don't see any reason why Louisiana should struggle in this one. I think they continue their ways. I would say, really, Louisiana only has one really quality win, which is against Harvard. So that 9-1 record may be a little deceiving, but this is a team that they should hammer. And this is actually a great tune-up game before they play Texas on the 21st. So there's a 13-point spread that favors Louisiana. I hope they meet and actually hope they exceed that. I think this is the type of team that they could do it against. I would like to see that so that they can go into Texas with some momentum. I don't necessarily expect them to beat Texas, but hey, anything can happen, as we've seen already. We've been calling some games and been vastly wrong, so I'd love to be wrong there too. So best of luck to the Cajuns tonight. Take care of McNeese down there in Louisiana, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.